Hi, it's Beverly Cole, and today we're going to do some more coloring with the alcohol markers. I'm featuring the Aster stamp in my Aster Garden set, and I'm going to show you how to color it with some beautiful purple markers, and some green markers, and a red marker, and a blue marker, because red and blue make purple. As usual, I'm starting with my lightest color. Well, this is my lightest color. I usually start with my medium color. One thing I decided though, as I was coloring, was that I better start with my greens because I'm not going to make a mistake today. I'm not. And I'm going to color in the greens so that I don't mistakenly color them with purple, because there's only a few places that I want to put green. This stamp is pretty versatile. You can make things look like leaves, or they can all look like flower petals. It's totally up to you. Today, I'm going to color in a couple of leaves, and, well, maybe more than a couple, and also some green around the base of the center of the flower and the stem. I'm using Nuvo markers, and I will link all of the color names and the sets to the description below. That's enough green. Well, that's the lighter green. Now we'll add the darker green. Nope, no you won't. We're back to the lightest color. Oh goodness. So I'm coloring in, and what I want to show you today is how you can add the red and blue like I do with colored pencil. You can add it with markers as well. So we're going to have a little review on coloring in and making texture with the alcohol markers, and then we'll add the darker markers to make deeper shadows. So here I'm coloring in, and I really have to apologize for the shakiness. I have my camera set up on my desk, and I've just discovered that coloring does make some shaky times when I color, a lot in one area, so I really do apologize for that. But here I'm just coloring in like I usually do, one leaf, one shape at a time. If you're in a hurry, you could go across the entire thing, but I just love coloring, as I've said before. Now this stamp set, now that unfortunately Sparkle and Sprinkle has closed their doors, I have opened a new Etsy shop. And this stamp set is the one that I'm featuring right now. And if you purchase this stamp set, I'm going to include this purple flower as a bonus image. My Etsy shop is called The Artsystamper Shop, all one word. And they're digital downloads, so they're instant gratification and instant fun. Already looks pretty just being pink. That's the lightest color. And it looks like I'm thinking, okay, what color do I want to make the center? Well, the center's going to be different from the yellow flower, which, by the way, the yellow image you do get as part of your stamp set. I'm going to add some of this pink, and the great thing with alcohol markers is if I change my mind with this light color, I can always change it up to something else. This is a light color. You'll notice the sentiment across the bottom, and the stamps are PNG so that you can layer them. The sentiment is a separate image. You can just go into your word processing program and you can just layer them and make them any size you want. Now I'm adding my midtone, and this is pretty much the main color of my flower. And as the darkest tone is really only for shadows, I'm kind of glad I started with the lighter color. You can already see when you add this dark color that it casts shadows. Tricks your eye into thinking they're three-dimensional. I really didn't have anything planned when I started this, how I would color it. I'm just kind of winging it. And just to show you that one stamp and you can make it look completely different just by the colors and the technique that you use. Using the nice bullet tip of these Nuvo alcohol pens. Now we use the lighter marker to blend, as you recall. Just go over the edges where the two colors are combining, where they come together, and it blends them beautifully. I think you'll find as you color more and more with these alcohol markers that you will fall into your own technique, your own approach to blending and adding colors. Like I said, I don't use the blending marker, the blender pen, to blend. I like to blend with the analogous colors, the lights and darks of the same family. So I've decided I need to add some pink. So I'm looking for some pink markers or blue. Ah, this is the blue marker. Okay, I'm already adding shadow like I would have with colored pencil. So be sure to watch my colored pencil video if you haven't already, and you'll know what I'm talking about. I'll link it to this one at the end. Adding the blues to the deep shadows. Blue and red make purple. So on this purple flower, these shadows are just perfect. It just looks like more of the same color but deeper. Now I'm adding some of the mid-tone again to blend in the blue. Look how deep that shadow looks. I love the contrast. It's really funny to sit here and talk about yourself. I'm just still not used to it. But I hope it's helpful to you, because I want to make videos that are helpful to everyone. And you know, if you're my age, I'm 60, almost 65, and if you're a retiree like me, and you're finally getting a chance to play with things like, you know, things that kids play with, markers and pencils and color and coloring and stamping, all the things that, you know, I was doing these things with my kids when they were teenagers, and with my neighbors, because the kids could get together and play. But I also had a lot of other responsibility and didn't have a whole lot of time to do this kind of thing. Well, now, with my grandchildren in another state, and this has pretty much become my vocation and my avocation, as Martha Stewart would say. It's like my job and my hobby, all wrapped into one. And I really have fun with it. But if you're my age, you're finding that you have time for these things now. So I'm really hoping that I can build my channel to offer things that we now have fun to do. And if you're younger, well, more power to you. You have even more time to have fun. Or perhaps you're building your own brand and your own career on Etsy or YouTube, and I hope that I can help you with some coloring techniques and stamping techniques and designs. You may even find a craft thrown in here and there, because it's just going to be things that are fun to do, and a lot of them don't cost much to do. So you can spend little money and really enjoy the products and the work that you create. Maybe sell them at your craft fair in your community, or give them as gifts. It's really satisfying to finally have time to do things. So you can see how we're building the lights and darks just by going back and forth with the different markers. And here I'm even adding a little texture with the lightest marker, but I'm going to mostly do that with the blending pen. And now I have the light marker again. You'll know the blending pen because it's white barrel with the gray covers on the either end if I'm using the Nuvo one. Okay, so maybe this is where I'm looking for a red, and I'm not finding a red in the Nuvo marker, so I pull out my crimson red Prismacolor marker, which is the exact same name of the pencil that I used when I showed you in my pencil video, the shading with red and blue. Now, adding this red is very scary for this flower image, because it's so dark. If you can see right now, that red is just so dark. But no problem, because when I add the blue to it, it will help to blend it out into a beautiful lavender color, a purple, and it'll blend just fine. But this red is giving us some ultra deep shadows. Now this is, I think it's called Blueberry Muffin, and this is the Nuvo blue. I decided to just go with that over the red instead of the indigo blue marker from Prismacolor, just to see how that blue would blend with the red, and it looks like it's doing a great job. Such deep shadows. Look at that, without any black, just color, making our own dark with color. Blending into the flowers so everything looks natural and smooth. Yeah, this aster was from a garden center in Tavares, Florida, where I went with some artists and we took our pastels and our cameras. And I did do a pastel in yellows. It's funny, if I find something I like to use it in all kinds of different medium. You might find this flower showing up in a collage. Or as a piece of ephemera that you can use in your junk journal. You could do that now with the stamp set. You could just print it out, cut it out, and add it. Okay, see how dark it is? So I'm working really hard to kind of blend it out. Like I said, that red pencil was dark. It gives us so much depth. Now green. I'm adding some darker green where I have light greens to add to the dark shadows. Adding a little more dark. That makes that center look much rounder. blending the greens. A little more blending with the light green. And we use 2 greens here. Now the blender. Using the blending pen, which is just clear, no color, and I put a piece of scrap paper underneath to catch the ink as it gets pressed through the paper. I'm going to do some texturing with this marker, a blending pen. Removing color, but I'm finding that I want to use the edge of the chisel point, which makes to clean out some of those little floral things. I don't know what they are, sticking up out of the middle of the plant. I used to know all those things. I think I should study and find out what they're called, because I just love my plants here in Florida. Another thing I get to spend time on, and a bit of money on. Don't have to buy any school lunches. Don't have to put anybody else through college. So the textures are being added with the blending pen, and I show how to do that in my video about blending with alcohol markers and adding texture. I'll link it into the end of this video too. Lightening in that end of the petal up a bit so you can remove the color. If it's too dark in an area, just add alcohol from a blending pen. Well, you could also do it with a paper stump. Blending pen works great. I enjoy adding the texture. It's a lot of fun. You can't really make a mistake, because if you make something lighter and you're not happy with it, just go over it with more marker. These lines and things look really pretty on these flowers because flowers' petals are so translucent. You know, you can see through them, see the light through them. So it's a lot of fun. More dark. This is the blueberry muffin. And I'm finding that I need more darks up in the center of the flower. Just love the light and dark next to each other. More blending with color, not with a blending pen. Notice how when you add the dark, the lights pop, especially in the center of the flower. But I'm finding that I have this line across the middle of the flower center, and I need to blend more color into that so that it doesn't look like such a straight line. And I think I do accomplish that eventually. And I'm adding some yellow, because yellow is the complementary color to purple, which makes the purple pop, and the yellow also makes the green pop, because it is one of the colors that makes up green. And now I'm adding some background to kind of add some brightness and contrast around the flower. And I'm using a canary yellow Prismacolor marker. Because yellow is the complementary to purple, they give energy to each other, and there's kind of, they're fighting for who's more important. So it really does give you some tension, and makes the piece really interesting to look at. And then after I add the yellow more towards the flower, less and less as I move away from the flower, just little tiny dots. Close to the flower, there's many. I usually work in like little triangles. They look a little green here, but they're not, they're yellow. And then, after I add some, I am going to add some lavender dots as well, just to carry the color out into the rest of the card and give it interest and somewhere for your eye to follow that lavender purple around the card. Your eye will automatically make a path by following the lavender dots out into the card and will bring you to the sentiment. There are many sentiments in this set. There's also an aster that has a butterfly on it, and that one is also in yellow with a blue, dark blue butterfly. So you get the black and white and the color and all of the sentiments. And like I said, purchase it now and you will, for a limited time, receive the purple flower image as well. Here's the aster with one of the sentiments included. And here's our finished card. Thank you so much for watching. This is Beverly Cole, and I'll see you in the next video.